And then we're also gonna be creating some just soft, minimal layers. I don't have a ton of layers in my hair currently because I wanted to maintain the most amount of thickness, but there is ever so slight, just a really soft layer and then very minimal face frame around the front. So as you can see here, I've got just a diagonal parting here. I like to do that. You could go straight across as well. I believe my other bob tutorials I go straight across, but I'm just gonna do a small angle, and it's best to break these into 2 sections because you're gonna get maximum control, and also it's just easier to clip this back hair into 2 sections like this. It's too much hair. Apparently it's too much hair to try to clip into 2, but it's definitely too much hair to clip into 1. So what I'm gonna do is position the head just ever so slightly down, and we're just gonna come in and start our cutting. We're using our shark fin shears. I will leave them linked in the description should you be looking for any. And like I said, we're just basically removing it to just barely off of that shoulder. So I'm kind of using that as my guide. I'm gonna go fine side of my comb. Cut, and I am doing a blunt cut. And what I like to do is I like to grab my corners, make sure that they're even. This looks a little bit shorter, so give me 1 sec. Yeah, I probably over-directed that slightly, standing off to the side, but that is okay. We'll just nip this here. So typically with a bob, you could actually opt to cut this baseline a little bit shorter, because what tends to happen is this likes to poke out underneath. Because it's so flat and straight to the head, it usually tends to curve, and you'll find a lot of times you need to go back in and nip them. So you could opt to keep it the length it is now or raise it shorter. I think I'm gonna just leave it so that way I can show you guys later how you would go to nip it out, just because that's going to be an issue 99% of the time with bobs. So we're taking our next section. It is very small. I'm going to be able to see through to my guide easily. I always preach sections to you guys, but with a bob, they are key. Like, this is a haircut that you definitely need to take your time. You do not want to rush. Nice, clean, even sections. We're just going to comb that hair straight down. I'm gonna do everything basically one length. I'm not elevating out. I wanna keep it nice and full. I can always go back in later and soften it after it's dry, but we're going under the basis like my own hair. I wanna maintain the most amount of thickness and weight in my hair. That's like the whole perk of a bob, is you typically have it looking really full and thick, because if you're somebody with like thinner, finer hair like myself, it just really keeps it looking all nice and clean. So I'm gonna wait to do any sort of elevation until after we get it dry, just so I can see how it's laying. And I express this all the time with any haircut, but especially again with a bob. The cut is not done until you have dried it and then go back in and cut more. It always lays different when it is dry. You never wanna leave it after it's wet and be like, oh, that's good, I'm fine. You need to go in and cut it a little bit more. I feel like I'm being a little long-winded with my cutting today. I just love bobs, they're so fun. And then we're just gonna do the same pattern, bring everything straight down in the back, a 1-length haircut. And then after we get all of this back done, I will go in and do some soft, longer layers to show you how you can create a little bit of shape while maintaining that weight still and that bob feel. Then usually once I get past the occipital bone, I will have the client look a little bit more straight up, just because it's really the occipital bone under region that you want to focus on having their head down. Because of the curve of the head, the hair lays a little bit different. So we're at our last section, which it's not super crazy thick, so I'm just going to bring it all down and cut. See my guide?
Going shorter than was planned. Okay, we're gonna honestly now. Are you for you? I didn't finish.
So now what you would want to do is check your back corners first to see how they are lining up. So I'm just going to grab right behind the ear. You're going to bring that forward and make sure that they're matching. And this, I believe, looks good. Gotta look myself. Yep, that is good. So now what we're going to do is I'm just doing a very, very soft layer. I will probably cut into this more when it is dry, because the reason dry cutting I prefer, I'm a big fan of dry cutting in general, but with a bob especially, is you really get to see, like I mentioned earlier, how it lays. So you know exactly like where you want to take more weight out of, more hair out of, or length, just because the hair can sometimes be deceiving when wet. And especially, again, for somebody who wants to maintain the most weight and thickness, cutting it dry is always going to give you that visual result. So as you can see, I've just done a small section here, and what we're going to do is we are just going to come out with this, and we're going to go all the way up, let all that hair fall, and I'm just going to cut right up into it at an angle. And then what I'm gonna do is just lightly point cut in to this top hair. Grab our next section. Coming up, all of this hair has fallen. My scissors are at an angle here. Cut. And what I like to do is bring the hair back down and just slightly point cut into that.
Maybe this looks better than the last time. No. If I have to like compare this one or the last one, for me, I think the last one is better, but I will not do this for the last shorter bangs. It looks better. This short one.
And we are over directing this back.
Okay.
Up, not as much to cut here.
And show your
perfect. And then just repeat on the other side.
Can you like this? Yes, you can. It's funny actually.
And this hair is coming back, up, just this little corner. So now that we have that done, we are right at that shoulder area. She's completely off the shoulders. My shoulder is flat here.